Welcome everybody to an all-new Downright Sports. I am your host and notorious sports critic, Brent Reed. We are back again this week with an all-new show here on DJ Chase Radio, and also the podcast is available on Spotify. If you've never heard the show before, it is a sports show for sports fans, for all sports fans, by a sports fan. Huh? I'm nervous today. Who are currently third right now behind the Celtics and the Pistons. The Knicks are 6.5 games back. They just won their last two. They're 7-3 in their last 10. There's a lot of conversation out there about can the Knicks do it? Can they win with Karl-Anthony Towns? Karl-Anthony Towns has a lot of criticism ever since he was in Minnesota, but the criticism has cranked up since coming to New York, because that's what happens when you play in New York. Minnesota, you can kind of be Karl-Anthony Towns and fly under the radar. Last season, the Knicks didn't win, not because of Towns, not because of Towns, and not because of Brunson. The conversation should not be, can the Knicks win with Towns? The Knicks can win with Towns. In fact, the Knicks are only going to be as good as Towns is. Why am I saying that? Well, I'm glad you asked, boys and girls. Shaft, why am I saying that? Shaft asked the question, co-host Shaft, who's sitting in the room. I'm not crazy. My dog is in the room. If I could change the camera and show you, I would. Believe it or not, when Towns plays and is activated, the Knicks defense is much better. Much better. When Towns doesn't play, the Knicks defense is worse. Now, there's a stat, okay? I looked it up today. There is a stat in the NBA that is the player defense stat. In the scoring is the highest, the higher. So basically, if you're like 115, that's not good. If you're 100 and I believe right now the best currently right now is 10. I wrote it down. Did I not? Did I write it here? I did. The best right now is 104, and that is Chet Holmgren, Oklahoma. When the Oklahoma City Thunder. Karl-Anthony Towns is currently 7th in that ranking of defensive players. He's at 108. Okay. Without him, the Knicks are terrible on defense, if you hear what I'm saying to you. Offensively, they're even worse, and you need offense. The Knicks, when Karl-Anthony Towns plays offensively, score 114 points. That's what they average. Without him, 103 points. They have fewer rebounds without him. They have fewer block shots without him, and it's not close. It is a wide margin. Karl-Anthony Towns is a need for the Knicks, okay? And he is one of the primary reasons the Knicks are as good as they are. Why aren't they better? Well, for the Knicks to win a championship, they're going to need their contributors, to step up. They're going to need now newly acquired Jose Alvarado and Jordan Clarkson, who I feel is the guy that's really going to help the Knicks in the postseason, because he can get buckets when allowed. Now, you got to give him his sporadic minutes. He could be a great burst off the bench. But Alvarado, OJ Anunoby, and Bridges, these guys have... Hart is going to be there. Hart is literally the heart and soul of the Knicks. Without Hart, I don't know if the Knicks are an 8th seed. Come postseason time, Jose is going to really have to turn it up coming off the bench to help the Knicks score. The Knicks' bench, I feel, is better this year going into the postseason than it was last year. Not to mention Brown plays the bench more than Tibbs. Now, another thing that the Knicks will need, Brown's going to have to step it up as far as his defensive strategies. Now, unless he's holding back for the playoffs because he doesn't want to give it all away, he's going to, because the one thing Tibbs did, he had the Knicks playing defense. Okay? Now, were they exhausted by the time the playoffs came? Absolutely. Were they exhausted by the Eastern Conference Finals? Yeah. So is everybody else. Ain't nobody else. You think everybody's just fresh as roses? If the Knicks are going to win a championship, or the Knicks are going to make it to a championship, they're going to need their others. They're going to need their big-time players to step up and show. The thing that Vince McMahon did well with the WWE was understanding its fans from a financial standpoint. Fans may be upset about creative, okay? But what kept them coming back was it was affordable. You can go to a live, if you couldn't go to see, John Cena at Madison Square Garden on Monday, well, you may be able to see him in Rochester the next night or in Allentown the next night. I'm using locations that are close to me. They do fewer road shows, okay, which, give or take it. I don't wrestle, so, maybe the wrestlers are okay with that, but they do fewer road shows. And they have fewer matches on the PLE, which I think 10 is a lot, but seven or 8 I think is okay. They do fewer segments in the PLE. What do I mean by segments? Go back, or if you got Netflix, go on Netflix, watch some of them old pay-per-views. They used to do stuff in between the matches to kind of kill the monotony versus going match. The WWE right now, they said WrestleMania tickets are absurd. I listened to the Masked Man Show podcast, great podcast with Kaz, and the host Mark Schumacher said there's a guy he knows is going to every WrestleMania since WrestleMania 20 and missed one or something like that. Said this year he's not going. He paid for the same seat every year, same spot, paid no more than like $200-300 for it, and now this year it is up to $2,000. And I hope I told that story right. Mark, I don't know the guy who runs TKO, but he basically said, well, Vince didn't do it right. There was a lot of money left on the table because he could have charged more. No, Vince did do it right because Vince's philosophy is I want families to come. You should be able to come to a wrestling show, bring your kids, bring your wife, have a lot of fun, have a little extra money to buy merch. That's where a lot of the money, merchandise and the DVD sales and pay-per-view buys. And the WWE doesn't need, they make all their money off of TV revenue. Let's be clear. All right? They make all their money off TV revenue. So the notion that they need to charge more, and a lot of stuff is just run back. Moving to ESPN, where if you had the WWE app, the WWE app, it was $9. Even when it went to Peacock, it only went to like $13 if you didn't want commercials. If you didn't care about commercials, it was $7.99. You put the WWE in two streaming services. Netflix without commercials and the top tier is $21. The ESPN app, if you get Disney with it, is $40. It's $30 by itself, just the app. And I got news. I got news for TKO. You're going to find yourself in the next few years, if WrestleMania this year doesn't blow the roof off, if you can't find a way to draw people in, well, guess what? You're going to be wishing and hoping for bingo halls real soon.